Let us continue our lesson on Lesson 7, titled Determining the Dependent and Independent Variables. This is an easy lesson if you are to understand the context. Okay? Dependent and independent variables. We've been talking about variables x and y. But in our lesson, it depends whether you use the variables x and y. You can use any variable as long as you understand what is the dependent and independent variables. From the word itself, dependent. And this is something that depends on something, on someone. Or just like the relationship of a mother and a child. The child is dependent to his or her mother for feeding. Independent, a person or something that can stand on its own, does not change. Or a mother to a son or daughter, a baby. He or she can feed himself. But the baby is dependent, gasalig. Okay, diba? Gasalig upon the parent. Okay, let's have this definition. Variables may be dependent or independent. Dependent variable depends on the independent variable, while the independent variable controls the dependent variable. Okay, I hope you can understand that. The dependent variable depends on the independent variable. Gasalig sa independent variable. Whatever changes that happen to the independent variable, the dependent variable is affected. Okay. On its own, independent variable has its value already. Usually, when we will have values, we have x and y, right? The x values have values already, and so that is usually the independent variable. But it can change also depending upon the situation. Okay? If we give values to x to solve for y, x becomes independent because it has already values, while y becomes the dependent variable because that is the effect. What happened to x affected the y. Okay, let us have this. In an equation where y is expressed in terms of x, the variable x is considered the independent variable because any value could be assigned to it. However, the variable y is the dependent variable because its value depends on the value of x. Like this, for example, we have equation y equals x plus 3. And then we will change the value of x because there is a given value in the problem. Or let me assign a value to x. And so, x becomes your independent variable because we have a value to substitute to it. Okay? And then, because we have a value to substitute to x, y becomes the dependent variable. Okay? Cx ang cause sa mga changes. And then, ang effect, the answer that we are getting into is for y. So, siya ang dependent. Kung anong matabo sa x, kay siya ang gakos. Ang effect mo, si y, dependent. Okay? Sige. Let's have some examples. You are going running. For every mile we run, you burn 100 calories. In the equation below, m represents the number of miles you run, and c represents the number of calories you burn. So, kung gusto mo mag-diet, run ka, diba? You are keeping a healthy lifestyle. That's good for everybody. Here is an example of a situation. For every mile you run, you burn 100 calories. So, here, the relationship between these two variables can be expressed by the following equation. C equals 100m. C represents the number of calories you burn. To calculate the number of calories you burn, the number of calories you burn is represented by C equals 100 times M. So, 100 calories times the number of miles you run. And then, the result is C. So, in here, what is the dependent variable? What is the independent variable? And so, the dependent variable is the number of calories you burn. Here, the result, C. And the independent variable is your number of miles you run, which is your M. Okay? M affects your C. The number of miles you run affects the number of calories you burn. Another example. On your math quiz, you earn 5 points for each question that you answer correctly. 5 points kada tsakto. In the equation below, X represents the number of questions that you answer correctly on your math quiz. So, kung makakorek ka, pila nakabilog, X na siya. And Y represents the total number of points that you score on your quiz. Ang Y, pila ang score mo. Okay, so let's have this equation. Y equals 5X. Pila si Y ang imo nga score kung kada correct mo, which is number X, is 5 points. Y equals 5X. So, what is the dependent variable and the independent variable? Siyempre, we substitute the values for X, that is our independent variable. And so, the dependent variable is the total number of points you answer correctly. Y. This is the result already. The independent variable is your X, total number of points that you score in the quiz. Okay? We change the value of X. So, kung may ginabutang ka nga value or gina-substitute, that's your independent variable. X can stand on its own, may value na siya. So, ang ginapangita mo, which is Y, is the dependent variable. Gasalig lang siya sa value sa X. Another. You are buying a new internet service. The service costs 1,200 pesos per month. The equation below, D is the total number of pesos that you pay for your service, and T is for the time in months that you keep the service. So, we'll have this D, pilang balayran mo, equals 1,200 per month. Pila ka months mo gamiton? 1,200 T. So, what is the dependent variable? What is the independent variable? Since T here is changing kay pila ka months, kung pila ka months sa problem, and then D is ginapangita mo, pila balayran mo. So, the dependent variable is, okay, that's D, the total number of pesos you pay for service, D. And the independent variable is T, the time in months you keep the service. Okay? I hope that you understand our lesson and you have to answer lesson 7. Okay? Thank you very much for listening. Keep on watching this video so that you'll get and understand our lesson. Thank you very much.